Hey everybody, Dylan Bowman here, one of the founders of Freetrail and the host of the Freetrail podcast. Thank you for watching our video podcast. A couple of things before we get started. Number one, please do join Freetrail Pro, our great community for trail runners from around the world. There's a lot of great perks involved in that membership, and we would love to have you on board. Number two, a big thank you to our sponsors here in the video podcast. We don't do real commercial breaks, so I just want to give them a major shout out on the front end here. We have some discount codes in the show notes that you can take advantage of. Number one, Speedland, of course, the makers of the GS Tam, the shoe that bears the Freetrail logo on it, and a product that we worked on to bring to market in the spring of 2023. Our other annual partner is Gnarly Nutrition, makers of fantastic training and racing nutritional supplements that will really help you on your trail journey. We always have a third partner on the show that rotates throughout the year. So depending on who it is now, you can find a link and a discount code in the show notes for that partner as well. But a big thank you to the sponsors who do make our podcast possible. Number three, last but not least, we would really appreciate it while you're here to smash the subscribe button on the Freetrail YouTube channel. You can also click the bell icon to get notifications whenever we post new content. We are working very hard to keep you inspired, informed, and entertained here in the great sport of trail running. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show. Travis, welcome back to the program, buddy. Good morning to you.
Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate you having me. It's good to be here.
It's about 12 months since the last time you were on the show to talk about this very thing that we are going to spend the next few minutes talking about here. This is going to be a very short episode announcing the opening of voting for Trail Runner of the Year in 2023 and an explainer of some small but important adjustments that we've made for this year's vote. Maybe to get us started, Travis, remind the people where the Trail Runner of the Year idea came from and how the first year played out in 2022.
Yeah, sure. So I think, Trail Runner of the Year came from this desire to sort of celebrate the global nature of the sport of trail running and all of the athletes that accomplish these awesome feats throughout the year. Across, obviously we have a variety of distances within the sport. So yeah, it really just wanted sort of an end of the year, sort of MVP type award to recognize the individual athletes as well as their performances.
Yeah, absolutely. Analog to the global MVP or the Heisman Trophy or whatever.
Totally. Yeah. And I'm definitely stealing a little bit of your framing of it there as well, which I love. And yeah, so for 2022, it went super well. I think we had over 1,000 people from around the globe vote. I think we had just over 60 countries participate, which was super cool to see kind of an international audience participating in the voting. And yeah, we sort of had our inaugural top tens for Trail Runner of the Year, and excited to kind of iterate on that this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get to that now. But again, last year voted on entirely by the fans, which was amazing. We arrived at what I thought was a very high quality top 10. And our job now and going forward is to make sure that we always arrive at a very high quality top 10. And we've made a couple of small adjustments here in 2023. So without burying the lead too much, let's talk about those things. First, of course, we want to encourage all of our listeners to participate. Voting is open now, and we'll have links in the show notes of today's episode. But there's two important improvements that we've made this year: a new voting algorithm and the addition of the trail performance of the year. So let's take them one at a time, starting with the new algorithm. Travis, tell the people what adjustments we've made there.
Yeah, so for the new, for 2023, we're still going to have a sort of an open vote where all the fans of trail running from around the globe can vote. But we're sort of introducing 3 additional cohorts into voting, and those votes will be weighted on sort of a 2-to-1 basis. So basically, every one of the votes from those 3 cohorts will count as 2 votes. And the 3 different cohorts are one. We're partnering with the Pro Trail Runners Association to get the pro athlete vote. That was sort of something that we had discussed in year 1. We just didn't quite get around to implementing it. The second group is going to be the selected trail media and industry professionals. So this is just sort of people that are in the trail media space and sort of other industry professionals in the trail space from around the world. We have kind of an initial group that we've selected for that cohort this year. And then also we're going to add kind of a fun thing, which is the top 10 fantasy predictors from 2023. These are people who have, I think we did 51 fantasy trail events across, a variety of distances this year. So these are people who've really tuned into trail racing throughout 2023, and excited to include them in that cohort as well.
51 races, man. That means we've on average done more than one a week for the entire year, because we still have 4 weeks left in the season. So
That's true.
Just to I guess add a little perspective here for the listeners too. Yeah, again, the whole idea of adding weight to these votes comes from the MLB and as the Major League Baseball, I should say. So in their voting system to arrive at their all-star game roster, they pool the votes of the fans, the players themselves, and the media. And to me, that always felt like a great way to arrive at what it was a well-curated top 10 for Trail Runner of the Year too. So that was sort of like our inspiration and our model there. Of course, the professional trail runners in the sport, nobody knows the sport, the competitive landscape, and the athlete dynamics better than the professional athletes in our sport. So it's great to be able to partner with the PTRA to help encourage the professional athletes to vote for the top 10 best athletes in the world for 2023. Again, the selected media, the only thing I would add there is that we did our best to reach out to people from different geographies, from different countries. One of the things that we're sensitive to is having a North American bias in our results, just based on the fact that Freetrail is a North American based and an English speaking trail running media platform. So wanting to reach out to people who we know have their finger on the pulse of the sport globally in Europe and Asia and beyond. And then again, the top 10 fantasy predictors. Nobody has proven that they pay attention and that they have a deep understanding of the athletes and the performances in 2023 better than the top 10 predictors. So a fun way to improve our algorithm here in 2023. Moving on, Travis, the trail performance of the year. This is another sort of, important new adjustment for us, something that was, I think, notably absent in our vote last year that we're excited to implement this year. Tell the people about it.
Yeah, totally. So performance of the year this year, I think we're going to be going 5 deep on each side for trail performance of the year. And I think we have currently about 50 different performances to select from across the men's and women's field. I think this will be fun because, again, it's distance agnostic. You have everything from sort of Courtney's efforts to Remy's, breaking Matt Carpenter's record at Pikes Peak ascent. So it'll be fun to kind of sift through, I think, those results and kind of figure out a ranking for those.
Yeah. So again, nothing world shattering here, but just a great way to not only recognize the full season in context with Trail Runner of the Year, but also the individual performances. I think the only other thing to mention here is that obviously there's some athletes who have multiple world-class performances this year. So it is okay to vote for the same person multiple times in the trail performance of the year. And we will recognize the top 5 performances of the year for both men and women. So those are really the 2 major adjustments, just the new voting algorithm and the addition of trail performance of the year. So we will have separate landing pages for Trail Runner of the Year and trail performance of the year, which we'll link to again in the show notes here of today's episode and across social media, et cetera. Travis, you and I have spoken a lot about some sort of harder decisions that we have to make. Obviously, we are a trail running specific media brand. This is a trail running specific award, and therefore sometimes we have to use our best judgment as to what constitutes a trail race. And this year, there were specifically 2 performances that we debated, including Charlie Lawrence's 50-mile world record from Tunnel Hill just a couple of weeks ago, which we are not including, and Harvey Lewis's Biggs Backyard Ultra performance from, again, just last month. And that we are including. So maybe explain our conversations to the audience so we can be transparent about our decision making?
Yeah, I think I guess I'll start with Harvey's, which we are including, and actually we are also including Ihor Vere's assist there as well, since he ran almost the same amount of miles and for the same amount of time as Harvey, over I think 108 yards, 108 hours they ran. Or Harvey ran and 107 that Ihor ran. So, yeah, I mean, that one ultimately, it's a trail racing specific award, and half of Biggs is trail. So I think it was Ryan that made the point in our discussions that that effort included many more trail miles than most people would have run in a single race this year. So I thought that was a super good point. And from what I understand actually about the Biggs course, it's like a fairly not the most technical, but it's like somewhat technical trail. So yeah, I think it's definitely something we want to include. Yeah, the Charlie one was definitely sort of a more difficult one to navigate, I think. Obviously, incredible, earth-shattering performance by Charlie. It's not every day a 50-mile world record goes down, so it's just incredible. And I think ultimately there, we landed on it being sort of too much like a road race to include in this year's Trail Runner of the Year. I will say, I think the thing that I was sort of stuck on is that it's tough to imagine sort of a 50-mile world record falling on what we think of as a trail race. So yeah, that's ultimately where we came down on that one. I think we're open to feedback certainly, and happy to hear from others on that.
Yeah. Again, got to draw the line somewhere. Certainly no disrespect to Charlie, like you said. I have nothing but love for road and track ultras, for athletes who target those races. But yeah, obviously Charlie should be considered, and I'm sure will be considered, for Ultra Running Magazine's Performance of the Year, but not for Freetrail's Trail Runner of the Year, for the reason that you mentioned. I mean, it is like, even though Tunnel Hill may be considered quote unquote a trail race, it's more of a soft surface road, and therefore probably not the right fit for the award that we're trying to create here with Trail Performance of the Year. But again, big shout out to Charlie Lawrence, and congratulations on breaking that 50-mile world record held by Jim Walmsley, a household name, obviously. So again, yeah, as Travis said, we are open to feedback on this stuff, and each year we'll probably be making small adjustments. And so if it feels like, that performance should be included, or we're missing some people as you navigate through both the Trail Runner of the Year and the Trail Performance of the Year landing pages, please do send us an email, hello@freetrail.com, subject line Troy, because certainly we've done our best work to curate the list, but last year we had at least a couple good suggestions from the audience as things that we were missing or additions to make. So again, trying to do our best, got to draw the line somewhere, and this is where we've decided to draw the line this year. A couple other things to tick through here, Travis, before we get going, reminding our audience that this is a distance agnostic award. Travis mentioned it at the beginning of the show. So we are considering trail running in its totality, from VK up to 400 plus miles at Biggs Backyard Ultra. Another thing, Travis, maybe you could say a few words about this too. The incomplete ballot conversation that we had last year, we will be counting incomplete ballots. So maybe say a few words about how we arrived at that decision.
Yeah. I think this was a good one to kind of debate internally. And ultimately where we landed is that we want people to vote with sort of the information that they have, and that they're, make decisions that they're fairly confident in, rather than sort of like requiring that somebody fill out their full ballot and maybe just like fill in the rest of 4 or 5 picks or votes, and then, basically just fill out the ballot with names that they're familiar with to complete the ballot. So we're leaning in this direction of, letting people express their feelings that they're, fairly confident in, and then, still counting that as opposed to discarding it because it's not complete.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, in the spirit of trying to arrive at the most high quality vote at the end of the day. I think stopping a few short of 10 rather than selecting randomly is our preference here at Freetrail. I know for me personally, it's going to be hard to limit it to 10, but certainly for some people, they may feel more comfortable stopping at 6 or 7 or something like that. So don't feel bad if that's the strategy that you take with your ballot. We will still be counting those votes. Again, just to put a finer point on it too, wanting to be sensitive about geographical bias. So making sure that you take your time on your ballot, look through the totality of the list. We have everything listed in alphabetical order. That is to try and eliminate any bias that may occur if we were sorting it by their ultra sign-up ranking or your UTMB index score or their ITRA index score. So everything is listed in alphabetical order. Make sure you look through the whole list. Travis has built the website in such a way that you can click on every athlete's name. You can see all the various databases of their race results. You can click through to their personal Strava and Instagram and social media accounts. And we try to do everything we can to place all the relevant information in the same place so that you can have a good time sort of making the picks and constructing the ballot. Final thing for me, Travis, is just wanting to say a big thank you to Ketone IQ, who has stepped up to be the presenting partner for Trail Runner of the Year here in 2023. So Trail Runner of the Year and Trail Performance of the Year is going to be presented by Ketone IQ, a great partner of ours, which we certainly appreciate. Anything else from you, Travis, before we wind down?
I don't think so. Yeah, super excited to see how the vote goes this year.
Sweet. Well, thanks again to you, Travis, for building this amazing platform from scratch. It's really a fun end of year tradition now that we're building here at Freetrail, and it really all comes from your software genius. So appreciate your hard work. To our listeners, please go fantasy.freetrail.com. By the time this episode is up, both Trail Runner of the Year and Trail Performance of the Year will be live there. Pick 10 deep for men and women for Trail Runner of the Year, 5 deep for men and women on Trail Performance of the Year. And we'll start doing the rollout starting January 1st, 2024. Have a great day.